Gentlemen, to the 4v4 Search and Destroy for November 14th. It's myself here live from the UMG studio alongside of my pal Maze's Realm from home. Maze, we're hopping in here toward our next series. It's our semifinal match taking place between XOXO and the side of OneInTen. And it looks like kills already taking place here in round number one. BuLieVe actually being spotted out there from EclipsiR, as we've got some interesting team names, at least for OneInTen here, Maze. I believe at the very top there we have a.k.a. Reltug is actually Gutlery. It's just backwards. We had to do some fighting, some searching to figure that out, but we did it, and I'm feeling pretty confident about that.
You actually hit the nail on the head with that one because it was a little bit hard to figure out, but Gutlery definitely in a position to possibly pick up a player on A. Meanwhile, you're seeing PolahRican here on the B-bomb site and just holding this line aside. He doesn't want to peek yet, but he's got the green light to get that bomb down. Meanwhile, Turnup is right around the corner and does pick up that bomb planter right away, and that is going to make it now a 2v2, make it all up to Gutlery as he is trying to hunt down these players and unfortunately does get shut down. That's going to be a defuse, and just like that, you're going to start to see that, Team XOXO is going to get on the board first. And honestly, we've already seen, Simp in this game. He has very, very quick, aggressive movement, and BuLieVe we've also seen as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if they continue that playstyle here on this tournament.
It absolutely will be, and of course, kind of speaking of kind of players to mention, one of them for me is definitely going to be Turnup. This guy, every time I watch him in Search and Destroy, always has the Car 98K out, even from our launch tournament from the day after the game came out. And he was just knowing spots left and right as he hits a nice headshot there onto Gutlery, finding the first blood, and that's going to make things a lot easier for his team. And that's something that this guy can do, Turnup, constantly. He's already found 3 kills after a round and a half nearly as the bomb gets split in here from Wreck. But this is something that this guy, Turnup, can do all the time. It's just having that sniper rifle in the back, constantly giving you momentum left and right, as it will be EclipsiR last alive, trying to do his damage with the sniper rifle himself. Actually, just having to peek at the worst time possible. And right around the corner is Turnup, just looking for EclipsiR. Actually gets the hit marker. The teammates will be there for the pickup. But this is one thing that you have to watch out for, is having a good sniper on USS Texas here, Maze, can be incredibly difficult to deal with, as you're going to see BuLieVe come in here with just literally a bullet and a half. But still, having a good sniper rifle when it comes into USS Texas is huge. It's so crucial when it comes down to this particular map because of how the long line sites work, whether it's the A side or B side. It really doesn't matter. As long as you have a sniper constantly watching all times and maybe even finding a first blood here or there, it is so huge when it comes down to this game because of how nade spots work and how the defensive setups can work as well.
I completely agree, and the funny thing is, no team opts to use smokes, and that's because both of them are sniping on either end, both offensively and defensively, and it's just a battle of attrition when it comes to those sniper rifles. But as it is right now, you're starting to see that finally signs of life from OneInTen here, as they're able to get the man count advantage. BuLieVe and Simp both eliminated. Now Turnup, one of the better snipers on the side of XOXO here, is still alive, and Wreck as well. So it should be interesting to see how this will turn out, as obviously Turnup is going to be playing that long sight line as best as he can to enable Wreck to get a flank, and is able to pick up one player to make it a 2v2. And with 35 seconds left, they're going to have to hunt down this objective player as quickly as possible. Another hit marker comes through, but that one actually results in a kill, and Gutlery was the latest victim. And now it's left up to EclipsiR, the designated marksman over here on the side of OneInTen. Wow. And he's going to get eliminated by that machine pistol. And just like that, another round goes for XOXO.
And that's a huge round for XOXO, just because of the fact that they were in, I believe, a 2 versus 4 Wreck and Turnup, and they were kind of in an interesting position. I think kind of how their teammates had dropped. They were trying to pick up the pieces, kind of keep things moving forward. And essentially what they do, they have Turnup in the back, and now they have Wreck up close, who at time after time after time, we saw Turnup spot one coming into that mid-control room. PapiWrek is there to kind of finish him off. A different time, Wreck ends up spawning one from the side, and Turnup's there to pick him up as well. Just very well played, as Turnup still flawless after 3 rounds, 6-0, along with the sniper rifle, earning full streaks. And it just goes to show how smart this team can be and how well they play as a unit. And I've, of course, been able to watch at least 2 out of the 4 of these players play quite a bit of World War II up to this point. Not super familiar when it comes into PapiWrek and BuLieVe. But watching them play Search and Destroy on Ghost, they were very talented players as well, and constantly placed high in our UMG Online tournaments. But just a very well-played last round, kind of giving and kind of showing that veteranship. When it comes down to this game and their sniper rifle prowess, as BuLieVe, unfortunate nade as he has to watch his teammate back up there from Simp. But Gutlery pushing forward, definitely a little bit angry after losing that last 4 versus 2 engagement here, Maze, as they're going to have to use some good composure to try to bring this one back.
Well, this is going to be an important gunfight. Unfortunately, for Gutlery, he does not have that primed basic training, and that's going to not help him in that gunfight. He does get taken down. Meanwhile, his teammate MosMee has a beautiful flank here, but he does fire his weapon a little bit prematurely, does get traded out by Turnup, and now it's going to be a really tough task for him on a 1v2 with just a sniper in hand, but he's been on point with it. Unfortunately, not in that engagement, and that is going to be the first round for 1-in-10 in the books. And EclipsiR, poetic justice, sniper against sniper, but he decides to pull his pistol out and make that gunfight go his way really easily there. So well played overall, and now they're just within 2 rounds of tying this one up going into round number 5.
They are indeed, and I think it's only fair that we do take a look at Turnup right now. Is fully streaked down, has definitely got some things to work with, especially being that fighter pilot and that glide bomb. We'll see if it comes into play coming through for this defensive round, and honestly, if they can kind of limit them from kind of being inside, which I think is what you're going to see most likely them kind of focus on later on in the round. Of course, Simp kind of being a nuisance inside of that mid ship, but if they can kind of push people out in this round here, Maze, and kind of focus them out toward the sides maybe, they could easily use that glide bomb or fighter pilot to really do some damage. But it looks like bomb going down. PolahRican not having any issues getting this one forward. And being aware of that left side push where a sniper rifle could be, tosses at the molly. However, BuLieVe is just waiting for that bomb to be planted. The Molotov doesn't affect him whatsoever, and the first blood happens regardless. So looking on, EclipsiR from one side, Turnup on the other, just going for the jump snipe, spots the head of one. And it's not going to be able to shut down EclipsiR, but here comes a nade for his troubles. Not going to affect him in any way. As he tosses out the frag, BuLieVe finds one. The nade actually gets a few hit markers and actually kills his own teammate. He shuts down Simp, but the defuse will start to come in. EclipsiR looking forward here, and he's actually taking some shots from the side, but takes out one and does it exactly what he needs to. EclipsiR going big, is taking shots from the side of BuLieVe, and obviously realizes that, hey, as long as I can shut down Turnup on the defuse, I can win this round, and great overall kind of focus to shut down the player defusing when he absolutely had to, and wins the round because of it.
That's just knowing clock management and also not stressing out about it. Just making sure his shot was lined up beautifully, does take it, and wins the round for his team. And although he did die, it was in a winning effort, and that's really what matters overall. And now they're starting to mount that comeback that we were just talking about. Meanwhile, aggressive defense played over here by Team 1-in-10, and that's not going to pay off. MosMee is going to get taken down. The bomb is actually being planted by Simp, and this is going to be interesting to see because that molly comes in from downtown. EclipsiR picks him up, then Turnup picks up EclipsiR, and once again the sniper's at it in that bomb site on A, and the bomb,
where did they go?
It's interesting to see because it did not get planted after all, and Turnup gets naded, so now it gets planted. And in fact, he actually picked up that nade kill. Excuse me for that. But overall, this is looking like it's going down to the wire, and PolahRican is the only line of defense here.
Yeah, 1 versus 2 on what seemed to kind of be a back-and-forth round up to this point. Definitely not going to be an easy site to retake, but if he can kind of catch off maybe one here on PapiWrek, could go his way, but actually we're going for the sneak defuse, and I don't believe PapiWrek might spot this one just in time. I would say maybe a second and a half before the round would have gone the opposite way, but just good overall intuition. You can see PapiWrek saying, it's quiet, it's a little bit too quiet, and spots the shoulder there of PolahRican, and will take him down there for the final kill of that round. Now 4 rounds to 2 is the side of XOXO as they currently lead, as we'll see if 1-in-10 can start to kind of bring this one back, and I really think this is going to come through the plays of just shutting down Turnup. That's been the guy who's constantly been a problem for them getting this bomb down here on that A site, is that when he kind of reins in the back, he can be an absolute terror, as we're seeing sniper shots already being exchanged as the whistle goes past the ear of EclipsiR, and Turnup holding off there toward that side, just being aware. Of course, did use the streak in the last round, does have that glide bomb still, as that could definitely be a huge influence when it comes down to this next defensive round for XOXO here, Maze.
And they have to be conscious of this if you're 1-10, knowing which bomb site would favor them if streaks are utilized to retake the bomb site. That's one thing they'll have to really take under account here. PolahRican still has the bomb in hand, but unfortunately cannot rotate over to his teammates. He gets taken down, and they definitely know that bomb is down. They ran right over it. So at this point, MosMee just trying to make a play out of nothing, and EclipsiR able to secure the bomb in hand, but on a 1-on-4, he's got to get the sniper ace to get his team this round, and with 28 seconds left, it's looking more and more unlikely for that to happen. But anything can happen, and we'll see what happens here as he's just rotating to try to secure a nice line of sight to possibly pick up a kill here. And Turnup does turn the corner, no pun intended, and he does stay alive, and he does pick up a kill. So this is now a 3-on-1. And unfortunately, time will run out, and that will wrap up that round. And just like that, XOXO playing the clock very, very well. That's really what's winning them a lot of these rounds, is the fact that they've just managed the clock well. They've been able to trade kills effectively and just wait it out. And it just hasn't favored 1-10 yet.
It really hasn't. And there was one moment in that round number 7, of course, that just took place that really kind of stood out to me as far as like how the round implications kind of came. Was that there was the first blood. There was obviously the side of PapiWrek from XOXO, and we also had PolahRican, of course, from the side of 1-10. There was an engagement that was happening actually inside of the spawn for 1-10. Of course, I believe it was PolahRican who was just kind of trying to bait out PapiWrek, trying to make it seem a little bit easier for him to try to push out, try to find that first blood, trying to bait him into his teammates being there for cover fire. And what ends up happening is that PolahRican kind of plays out a little bit too passively. He kind of walks out a little bit too far, and then it's an easy first blood for PapiWrek. And at the exact same time that round kind of goes forward, as this one's already kicking off here, it was an easy pickup. And then that's the first bloods you can't really give away versus this XOXO team. They're so talented when it comes into just making you pay for your mistakes. And now PapiWrek, speaking of the man, now left in a 1 versus 2. The bomb is going down, and just has to go for the one that matters, and he'll pick up the final 2 at the end. Give me both, and give me the map number 1. As PapiWrek will see this one again, just overall lining up perfectly for him. I want to say that was a lot of skill as far as positioning is considered, but he couldn't have been gifted that one any better.
Very unfortunate for the team of 1-10, and that timing there. That is a round that typically you'll see result in a win when you have that positioning there. But unfortunately, player was caught sprinting, and that was the end of that. As honestly, it just turned away here from 1-10 in the last few rounds because it was looking close. It looked back and forth, but MosMee unfortunately not having the best map 1 here. That hopefully will change for them going into map number 2, which should be an interesting one as well. It's going to be in Ardennes Forest, and of course we will be seeing that here shortly.
Yeah, absolutely will. Like I said, XOXO taking that one fairly easy. I think it's fair to say. I want to say that it was more competitive than, of course, our last series, which were both 6-1s. This one, of course, does see a round number 8, but not much more competitive than the last series we ended up witnessing. But back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 4v4 Search and Destroy for November 14th. It's myself, Lando, here, joined by Maze's Realm from home. Maze, we're hopping in here toward map number 2, and of course, we're hopping in at a pretty high angle. Of course, Codcaster does unfortunately mess with us on occasion. It is only going to be for 1 round, thankfully, but we are, of course, looking from the skies here and kind of focusing in on our next map, which, of course, is here on Ardennes Forest between the side of XOXO and 1-10. How about you kind of break down, as we do conclude this round number 1, kind of give a little bit of a breakdown as to what that map number 1 went. Of course, we ended up seeing it go in XOXO's favor, but was it close? What were your kind of overall implications, your overall thoughts about map number 1 now heading in here toward Ardennes Forest for map 2?
Honestly, it was just a tale of, XOXO, having back and forth rounds, feeling out their opponent, and then closing out the map 6-2 quite aggressively near the end. The sniping really did pay dividends for both teams early on, and then, of course, XOXO turned up. And that's because Turnup was doing all the sniping for his squad. So that's what ended up happening there on the USS Texas. But Ardennes Forest, definitely a map that plays very differently. It does favor close quarters combat and those BARs or FG42s, depending on your playstyle. And as of right now, we're starting to see the PolahRican able to pick up Turnup around on the flank. And just like that, Simp, last man standing, able to pick up the kill. And just like that, XOXO picking up where they left off. And they will pick up this round win. And you got a chance to see that from the, you know, bird's eye view. Kind of feels more like, you know, Assassin's Creed more than Call of Duty. But it works,
It does.
you know, it looks good either way.
It does, and of course we'll be able to go in here first-person point of view, like you just said there, Maze. But of course, like you said, around here for the side of XOXO, we'll see how the responding rounds will begin to take place as early nades being thrown out. Looks like Turnup not being affected by that one, at least for the start-off. And pulling out the STG-42 along with the smokes. I believe those smokes, I would imagine, are for the side of XOXO, but never know. Potentially the strategies could be coming out from either side. FG42 being brought up here from EclipsiR also has the advanced rifling on that one. Most likely trying to nail these players off the head glitches that could be toward this backside cabin area. And while it is a 3 versus 3 currently, the bomb has been dropped if you are from the position of 1-in-10. And PapiWrek for the backlines. Actually putting the sniper rifle on this map. So maybe saying, hey, Turnup, I know you just destroyed last round, but how about you give me a try? How about you give me a little bit of taste of the sniping action? As regardless of kind of giving that sniper rifle over toward PapiWrek, it's a round that it will not actually going over to the side of XOXO, as EclipsiR holding strong with the FG in the back lines will win this round number 2 here for the set of 1-in-10.
And absolutely, and honestly, I gotta give a lot of credit to how the loadouts are being showed off here in this map. You know, EclipsiR not only rocking the FG42, but it was his armored division pick that really stands out to me, because that's a brilliant pick on a map like Ardennes. Rek will get picked up though, and actually he's able to pick up first blood, as the kill feed was a little tricky there. But either way, Simp does have the bomb in hand on this 2v2 and has been spotted, so he opts to plant for the enemy's spawn side instead, which should help push that out and will give him a favorable situation here in close quarters combat, as long as he just stays there. Meanwhile, BuLieVe is doing a good job of just watching the flank, making sure he can spot the players on rotation, and sneaky plays, it pays off. MosMee gets taken down. That's leaving Gutlery all by himself, and it is going to be tough, as he does spot one of the players and is trying to get some suppressive fire down. But unfortunately, the time is not on his side. He gets taken down. And just like that, XOXO recommands the lead. And it is BuLieVe that's able to clean up that kill with the VAR. And what we're starting to see here is, once again, the pacing is being dictated very well by XOXO. You know, they give up a death here and there, but they're able to bounce back. And it's just the superior trading. It's really helped them out so far on map 1 and so far on map 2, as they take a 1-round lead here in round number 4.
Indeed they do. Of course, very well played 2-on-2 in that last round. We'll see how the side of XOXO can do now with a man disadvantage. Just as I say that, PolahRican going for the dolphin dive into the smoke. He'll drop, and the smoke constantly being thrown out here, as it did work out last round for the side of 1-in-10, but currently gunfight that will potentially decide how the round does take place. That was huge for MosMee to try and pick up, because if so, that evens things out into 3-on-3. But instead, we now find ourselves in a pretty awkward situation. Gutlery last alive, 1 versus 3 situation. Back here in cave, just a matter of time before one player either comes through that bunker side, through fire alley, as he's just kind of waiting out of the time, maybe just trying to maybe find some streaks. Staying up for as long as possible. He was getting ready to get picked up here from the side, as he will drop. So yet again, another round going over toward the side of XOXO, as they are now up 3-1 overall. And like I said, Turnup pulling out the FG40, not the FG42, the STG44, and doing some damage with it, obviously, in that last round. Kind of surprising to be seeing him, actually, with something other than a sniper rifle in his hand. So Vinding to go with a different type of strategy, but still looking
exactly
on,
right,
as it will be a position for the side of 1-in-10 to try and bring this one back. As I'm looking through the overall arsenal for the side of 1-in-10, looks like the only thing to really be keeping in mind is the fact that EclipsiR does have the FG42 rocking, making his way over to the B bomb site. Actually catches one through that side alley. PapiWrek toward the back lines makes it look easy, as we're seeing kills happen left and right. And it looks like BuLieVe and Simp trying to do as much damage as they can before Simp drops, and BuLieVe could have an easy plant here in cabin. Yeah, no one's around him. This should be an easy plant, and if he can work on this one with Turnup, they should have this round in the bag.
This is such a good way of completely baiting the enemy into the opposite bomb side of where the bomb carrier is going. Something that, for 1-10, they hadn't been able to do. And now XOXO doing it against them. And EclipsiR just trying to patiently wait for a player to just go past his line of sight. Does spot BuLieVe, and he's looking and hunting the player. He's going to have to turn to his left. Is he able to get the turn on? He does not. And just like that, another trade battle won by XOXO. And Turnup is there with the STG-44 in hand. And we're starting to see how XOXO is utilizing their arsenal so well in this map. The STG-44 is really good in closer to mid-range gunfights because of the damage drop-off at range. And he sets that gunfight up so beautifully, gets that kill to go his way as well. So now a 4-1 advantage here for XOXO. And, if you are 1-10, you got to figure out a way to respond here. You do not want to go down 5-1, but BuLieVe strikes first blood, and that's already not looking favorable here on the side of 1-10.
Definitely not. It looks like Gutlery able to do some work with, I believe, the M19. Shuts down Simp from range. We'll see the 2 versus 3 could potentially be converted here for 1-10. At least being in the current position, they're definitely going to need a major play. I believe PolahRican spots one through Fire Alley. That's PapiWrek. And now PolahRican's got to do the rest of the work by himself, by his lonesome. Turn it from one angle. And the other member from XOXO from the opposite one is it will be 5 rounds to 1. As at least based off how the start of this round was going, the start of this overall map was considered, it looked like 1-10 definitely had some potential. They seemed to be playing a little bit more confidently. I know the smokes were kind of brought out in their first offensive round, and things were kind of looking a little bit difficult. But you can kind of see, like, as far as how things are going, the scoreline, besides one player, isn't really sticking out too much if you're on the side of 1-10. And if you also look at the side of XOXO, right now, Turnup, BuLieVe, both 8-3, 7-4, nothing too crazy. But the overall rounds are just dictating differently, which just goes to show in these 1v1, 2v2 situations, the side of XOXO is just right there. They're always kind of being in those clutch scenarios, which just goes to show their overall positioning seems to be superior. As just before I even discuss how the last round is going, we're in round number 7, and it's already a 1 versus 2. EclipsiR, all by himself, shuts down at least maybe one on Simp, pulls out the sniper rifle, and makes Turnup look easy, as he's not going to progress much longer. And yeah, Simp's there for the pickup, and that's an easy 6-1 to close out the series.
Well, it went down kind of how we expected, but what an interesting turn of events there. Unfortunately, it was just a sniper against fully automatic weapons. Does not fare on the way of 1-10. And that's a 6-1 victory there and a 2-0 overall victory in this series here for none other than XOXO, and an unbelievable performance coming in from Turnup, as he went 10-4 for his team. And then Simp with the objective play, able to get a good, 7-3 kill death in that game as well. So overall, very, very well played. And it was just, what else can we say? They just played phenomenal and didn't really give 1-10 that much of a chance on Ardennes.
Yeah, and there was a few moments, I think, throughout that entire series. One moment that kind of spoke out to me more than a few others was, of course, on map number 1 on USS Texas, there was a moment between PapiWrek and I believe it was PolahRican from the side of 1-10, where PolahRican definitely has the advantage in a certain gunfight, but kind of plays a little bit too aggressively, tries to bait out Simp into his teammates' control. Simp ends up somehow winning the gunfight, or excuse me, Rek ends up finding the gunfight narrowly to kind of close out PolahRican, which makes it a little bit more awkward, which makes it a 3 versus 4 in favor of the defensive team. And, of course, on Arden Forest, I want to say it was round 6 or round 5, where it was a 2 versus 2. I believe it was PapiWrek and Simp, and they're just kind of playing the angles the best way they can. PapiWrek is kind of holding the back line, shuts down one from the side, and kind of through that playing passively, there was a moment where Simp actually intentionally pulls out from cover to kind of let the other member shoot at him, just to make it an 100% solidified gunfight for PapiWrek to win. And once that happens, it makes it a 2 versus 1. They have a bomb down position due to the great offensive play coming in from Simp. There are just little moments here and there where it's just like kind of picking up on the enemy's mistakes, or picking up on a play where it's like, you know what, if I'm just overall teamwork, like definitely worked out well for the set of XOXO. It was just little moments that kind of happened throughout the series that just goes to show that, hey, there's one team in this series who's stronger than the other, and just due to little plays, little intuition that kind of comes through playing in prior tournaments was definitely showing when it came down to this matchup.